Okay, so my issues with technology are still ongoing. So I'm just going to go through these quickly, just so I've got something to put up for you this week. And hopefully by next week, I'll finally have it all sorted. So I'm just going to do a quick look at Capricorn, see what the week ahead has in store for them. Now this is the week beginning, what's the date on Monday? Does anyone know? Does anyone care anymore? What day are we on today? I'm not sure. But it's for next week anyway. We're now on the 24th, so is it the 27th on Monday? I think it might be. Okay, so it's that week anyway. That's as good as you're going to get from me at the moment. I think we've all kind of given up on the calendar, haven't we? Right. So for Capricorn next week, we have got the Mirror, the World Tree, and the Wanderer. Three major arcanas, Capricorn. Interesting. I think you may have some quite significant things going on next week. This is, you're dealing with bigger issues. These aren't the tiny, mundane, run-of-the-mill, everything to do with normal everyday life. This is something a bit more up there, a bit grander. Yeah, I think you've kind of just been going with the flow for a while. Things, you're just ticking along. Nothing really major happening. Everything's just sort of. It's kind of like you've pressed the pause button. And I think you're starting to get a little bit fed up with that. You're starting to want to do more, get out more, do more stuff. Difficult for all of us. I've got a feeling I said much the same for you last week, Capricorn. Have you not been listening to me? I'm not sure if it was you. It may have been one of the others. But you're kind of, at the moment, I think you're getting fed up of how things have been. You're getting fed up of not having done very much, of just feeling out of control. I think you've felt lately as though you're not in charge of anything, and at the moment what you're doing is you're kind of pulling everything together and trying to make sense of things and trying to take back some kind of control over your life. You might not be able to sort out all of it. You might not be able to go to work, you might have kids at home, you can't meet friends, but there's some element of that you're trying to take charge of again. You're fed up of sitting around doing nothing, and you need to be doing something. You're really sort of pushing forward, and yeah, I think you're actually going to succeed. You're going to come up with some ideas. You're going to find ways of managing to communicate and interact and control your life in a different way. You're looking at new and interesting ways of doing things at the moment. Yeah, you need to get out of this phase. This is kind of, you're stagnating a little bit here, I feel, and moving forward. But everything else looks like you're headed out of that phase. You're finally sort of pushing that to one side and getting on with things. You seem a lot more focused now. And that's kind of, yeah, it's kind of where your energies are at the moment, and there's not really much else, I think, because I think until you take back control, until you start sorting yourself out, there's not really much else to tell you, because everything depends on that. So grab hold of the reins, Capricorn. Start taking charge of things again. Now we're going to take a look at Taurus. How are things going for you, Taurus? What have we got on the cards? Like I say, it really is just a quick look this week, because my issues with phones and laptops and basically anything that has any kind of electricity going into it has been going wrong for me at the moment. So, you know, take it as you will. Right, we've got the Knight of Arrows, the King of Arrows, and the Guardian. Yeah, you're being a little bit more decisive than Capricorn was. You're kind of almost like you're a step ahead of them. You've already been through that process of being sick of how things are and decided to take charge. You've been watching carefully and planning and waiting and biding your time, and now is your time for action. This is when you're really starting to actually do things. You're putting your foot down, you're making sure that, you know, things are going your way, and yeah, this might involve dealing with something that's a bit tricky or difficult. I think there's probably a situation that you kind of need to face head on. But you're in the right frame of mind to do that. You know, there's nothing dithery about you at the moment. You've got this clear focus and determination, and you're actually starting to put that into place. It's not just thinking about, right, I need to do this. You're actually starting to do it. You're stamping your authority on a situation, and that might not go down very well with people around you. There is this kind of obstacle, and I think you're probably a little bit wary about dealing with it because you're not sure how other people are going to react. But you know that you've got no choice. You've got to move forward with this. You've got to tackle it. This is a blockage that you really need to clear. And I have to say, Taurus, it looks like you're well on the way to succeeding with that. So let's have a look at Virgo. Again, sorry Virgo, it really is just a quick look this week. But we'll see what the week has in store for you. We've got the Journey, the Seven of Stones, and the King of Vessels. Right, so you're undergoing some kind of transformation at the moment, Virgo. There's endings and things coming to conclusion and moving on from something. You're changing, I think. It's not so much the situations around you. I think it's you that is changing here. You're making decisions that actually affect quite a lot of your life. I don't think this is just one situation. It may be for some of you, but this is something that is quite dramatic. It's like there's been something that's happened that's the catalyst for you changing your mind about things, making decisions, putting a stop to things. It's like everything's come to a point where you know that this can't go on. You've got to change the way you're handling things, and you're in a phase now of I say quiet reflection. You know, you've made your decision. You know there are things you don't want to be doing. You know there are things you feel you need to clear out and get rid of. Now you're kind of processing that and working out how to go forward. You're taking this time to just chill a bit. Maybe doing things that you're enjoying doing, maybe relaxing more. That could be an enforced relaxation due to the situation, but I think even if it is, you're making the most of that time. You're actually going to come out of this phase a lot stronger and more certain about what you want to be doing, because you're moving on into I think as you're coming towards the end of the week, you're starting to have a clearer picture. You're more determined and focused. There's a little bit of stubbornness there, which I think you might actually need, because you're going to have to dig your heels in over something, I think, because it might not go down particularly well with everyone around you. But this is for you. This is for the good of your health, that you've got to tackle this. And there's a lot of compassion and caring and responsibility there, but it's like you're saying, I matter too. You know, don't forget that this is all about me as well. You know, you can go off and do what you want, you can react to situations the way you want to, but I'm in control of how I react and how I deal with things. And hopefully you'll be able to find some middle ground with people, because you're quite determined about this. And if people do react badly, you could be in a situation where you're kind of locking horns with people. But, you know, stand your ground, be determined, be focused, but take this time first to absorb and decide what it is you really want out of life. Now I'm going to move on to the air signs now. So we're going to take a look at Gemini. What's next week got in store for you, Gemini? Hopefully it'll be a good one. I think you had a good week last week, I'm not sure. I don't remember. Let's see, how's this week going for you? We've got the journey again, and healing, and the wheel. Interesting. Now that could just be my bad shuffling, but actually I don't think it is. Yeah, you've got this kind of process of endings and healing, in much the way that Virgo had, and yes, it is bringing about change for you, but I'm not sure this is quite the inner changes that Virgo's undergoing at the moment. This seems to be a little more, it's less about emotions and feelings, I think, and more about concrete changes. You're making changes in your life. There are things that you've had time to absorb and consider, and there's things that you haven't been happy with, things that you've decided that it's time to move on from. It's time to leave these things behind. You're putting quite a definite stop to a situation or a phase of your life that and you're taking that time now to decide what you want, in much the way Virgo was. But this is, I'm getting the sense of, this is more of a real new beginning. It's not about how you deal with things. This is about change. You're weaving your own destiny. You're in a position now where you can make changes that will affect you longer term. So if you're now considering that you don't like the job that you're actually furloughed from at the moment, you don't like the way you've been living, you don't like the relationship you're in, it's not helping you, it's not healthy, these are the kind of changes that you're looking at. I think you're ending something that's quite big and of a more practical nature, I think, in your life, and you're moving into a phase where you're thinking, well, what do I actually want? What am I looking for? What do I want to achieve? And that's where you're going. You're putting those building blocks down to rebuild things the way you want it to be. Yeah, you're in quite a good position at the moment, because it's like you're at a crossroads, and you've got these roads ahead of you, and you can choose. You don't want to go back the way you've come from, but you've got these other options available, and now you're deciding which way. Are you going to go straight that way, left, right, whatever, or are you just going to head off across the fields, because it's your choice. This is the point you're at the moment. So we'll see, Gemini, where are you headed? Right, I'm going to have a look at Libra now. What's Libra got on the cards? Right, Libra, we've got the Knight of Vessels, we've got the Ace of Vessels, and we've got the Queen of Arrows. Yeah, there's a lot to do with emotions and how you're feeling at the moment, Libra. Yeah, there's kind of a sense of creation and openness, and actually explaining how you feel. You know, you're not keeping those feelings bottled up. You're trying to sort of make people around you aware of things they do and things they say and things that have an effect on you, and I think you're not afraid actually at the moment to walk away from things that aren't helpful, or people that are a bit of a pain and getting you down, or just the situation maybe that's been really playing on your mind. You know, you I get the sense that you're quite vocal at the moment about things that have been going wrong, things you aren't happy with, things you like, whatever. You're not afraid to speak up, and you're focused on all this possibility, all these ideas and dreams that you've got, things you want to achieve, things you want to cook, things you want to create. It's quite a rejuvenating phase, I think, because you're looking at different ways of achieving things, and that seems to be a theme across a lot of them at the moment. Everyone seems to be in this phase of reflection, and I think by the end of the week you're going to be leaving things behind. There's this separation and loss, but I'm actually getting the feeling like it's more like you're leaving issues behind, you're leaving problems behind, rather than things you don't want to be separated from. It's like you're trying to move things forward, and I do feel like there's a feeling that things are stagnating a little bit at the moment. It's like you're stuck in this still pool and you want to be swimming off down the river. But you're going to see movement by the end of the week. Things are going to be starting to move forward for you, and keep sort of expressing yourself. Keep those ideas and things flowing. Keep that determination going, and don't be afraid to tell people what you want and what you're hoping to achieve, because I think you've got support there, and you're going to see movement. You're going to see some kind of shift as the week goes on. So now we're on to Aquarius. What have you got in store, Aquarius? Okay, we want these, do we? Right, fair enough. We've got the King of Vessels. We've got 8 of Bows and the 3 of Bows. Yeah, I think you've been a little bit stubborn lately. You're working hard. You're focused on things. You're trying to please everyone at once. You're trying to keep things ticking over. You're putting a lot of effort and energy into maintaining something, whether that's family life, work, just a general situation. You're putting a lot of hard work and determination in that. And I think you're actually exhausted, but you're too damn stubborn to admit that. You don't want to sort of let go, and it's time, I think, to kick up your heels a bit, relax, let the people around you help you. You've got a community around you. You've got people who care about you. This is all about families and close friends and community, and And that, I think, is something that you tend to pull away from at times. You're independent, you want to do everything yourself. And I think you're reaching a point where even you are having to accept that you cannot do it all on your own. You just can't. You're going to burn out if you do. And if you start accepting help, if you start taking support, if you start letting others share some of the workload, then I think you're going to find the path a lot easier. You're still going to be working hard, you know, absolutely. There's a lot there that still needs to be done, a lot you want to achieve, but it's a clearer path. You're leaving some of the struggle and the worry with it behind. If you start letting others share the burden, and you're heading on out into whatever it is you've got planned, whatever it is you're working for, with a kind of renewed vitality, I think. And I think that comes from sharing, even if the sharing is just that you're talking about it, and that, you know, you're offloading some of that burden just by being a little more expressive. Don't hold everything in. Maybe there are people who can help you do things. Maybe you just need to talk to people more and let your feelings and struggles out a bit. But if you do that, you're going to be in a much better position to achieve the things you're actually struggling to do right now. Now we're heading into the fire signs, so we've got Aries next. Aries, what is the week got in store for you? So next week we're looking at some of the end of April, heading into May. Let's see where that transition's going to take you. We've got the Blasted Oak, the Page of Arrows, and the Page of Vessels. Yeah, you're another one with changes coming. And I think you're undergoing a situation at the moment that may seem quite cataclysmic. Things here are really sort of falling down around your ears. It's like everything's going wrong, everything's falling apart, you don't know where you're headed, you don't know what you're doing. There's a lot of confusion around you at the moment. And it might seem like it's a really difficult thing to be going through, and it is, you know, there's no taking away from that. But you're going to come out of it in a much better position. It's like you're getting rid of the dead wood, you're sweeping all the rubbish out the door. You know, you don't want to be trapped in this kind of situation. And I think trying to put an effort in to maintain what you had is only going to cause you more problems. It's time to sort of let it go and move on. And you have got all these skills and abilities available to you. You know, you are you're quite ingenious. You've got a way of thinking that is a little bit unusual. You know, you don't always see things the way other people do, and you're prepared to head on into something new and different, almost without any experience, any background, you know, you'll tackle that situation. You'll just deal with it, and you'll learn from the process. Whereas lots of people want to sort of learn what they're doing, where they're heading first. They want to, you know, go in with sort of a strong arsenal, but you're not afraid to just take the plunge, and you learn so much about yourself and the people around you by doing that, and that gives you that edge sometimes. You know, when you're dealing with people, you can see a different way through, and you are moving on into something new. I think, you know, you've got ideas here, you've got things you want to be doing, and there's some kind of this is a big learning process for you. You know, there's something happening in your life now that I think even you can't really see the end of at the moment, but you kind of know that you've got to keep moving, you've got to keep learning, you've got to keep absorbing, you've got to keep following your dreams. It's like a drive with you at the moment. There's that real passion that's pushing you forward, even if you're not quite certain what the end result's going to be. You just know you've got to do this, and that's quite a good energy to be carrying with you. You know, don't be afraid to go after your dreams. Don't hold back. You know, it might not work out, but at least you know you've tried, and that's kind of where you are at the moment. You've got to keep pushing forward, pushing for the things that you actually want to achieve in life, and moving away from whatever has just sort of tipped your world on its head. It might not be nice, but you know, it's giving you the kick up the bum you needed, I think, to actually start doing things. And now we are on to Leo. Leo? I've got confused, I've got lost again. We did Aquarius, we've done Aries. Yeah, Leo, I think Leo's next. Okay, Leo. What does the week ahead hold in store for you? We've got the Knight of Arrows, the Knight of Vessels, and the Three of Arrows. We've had a lot of Knights come out just lately. There's a lot of you are really beginning to sort of take action. You've gone beyond that phase where you're sort of sitting around wondering what you want to do. Now you're actually starting to do things, and I think you're very, very focused this week. You know, you've got a determination and a strength, and you're not going to let anyone actually stop you. And I think there are people who are going to try to stop you. I think you're going to have a bit of a battle on your hands. You've got a clear idea about what you want to achieve, where you want to be going, and I think unless you express that clearly to the people around you, unless you involve them, you know, you need to talk about what you want. You've got to explain how you feel and why this is so important to you, because if you don't, they're not going to understand, and then you're going to end up with this situation which is sort of all negative and angsty and stressy and resentful. And none of us want to be dealing with that, you know. But this is kind of what you've got in store if you're not open about it, because you're going to do these things anyway. You've made your mind up. That is crystal clear. You know what you want and you know how to go about it. The key is expressing that to other people. And if you don't explain what you're doing and why you're doing it, tell people what your motivations are. Ask for their opinions. You don't have to listen to them, but make people feel they're involved, because if not, you're going to get a bit of a backlash, I think, this week. Now, Sagittarius, what's the week saying for you? Let's have a look. Sagittarius, we have got the Eight of Arrows, the Hooded Man, and the World Tree. Yeah, you've been having a bit of a rough time lately. You've been struggling with things. It's like I think you feel a bit like you've been wading through mud. You know, a lot of hard work and not really seeing much because of it. You know, you're putting all this effort in and don't really feel like you're getting any further. So I'm going to say you need to stop. You know, there's something there that kind of isn't right. That's seeming like it's more work than it should be, and I think you need to take some time out. You've got to find some time on your own, or just sort of meditate, whatever. You need to have that space to clear your thoughts and work out whether what you're striving for is actually worth the effort. And I think you're going to see a clearer path emerge. You know, I think you're more than likely going to be carrying on with whatever it is you're struggling with. You're just going to find a better method of doing it. At the moment, you really are finding it hard work, and yet I think the end result is kind of worth it. You know, you're trudging along for a reason. You don't want to give up. You're stubborn and determined, and you know that's not a bad thing if it's something that is worthwhile in the end, and that's what you're having to decide this week. And I think you will decide that it is. You'll maybe find that there are things that you've been paying attention to that you probably shouldn't, things you perhaps should have discarded along the way, but you're going to find a much clearer path forward by the end of the week. You're going to have a better idea, not necessarily of where you're going, because I think you already know that, but of how to achieve it, how to pull everything together and make the situation work for you. So I'm going to move on quickly to the water signs. So we're going to have a look at Cancer. Okay, Cancer, what we got going on here? We've got the Forest Lovers, the Sun of Life, and the Shaman. Yeah, you look like you're in for a good week, actually. Cancer, this looks, I think this is, there's a lot of positivity here, and it's to do with connections. Most likely a relationship. It not necessarily, but I think it could be. It's a strong bond. Now, whether that is a strong bond with a partner, with family, with children, with friends, this is a strong, really strong connection we're dealing with here. This is kind of a soul connection. You know, this is someone you connect with on a deeper level. It can be more than one person, but it's that group, that union that is really kind of tight knit, and I think that's what we're looking at here. And it's there's a lot of passion and healthy growth here. It's a really strong relationship, but I'm getting the feeling that you're kind of wanting to. It's almost like you're wanting more. You've got this strong connection. It's all working well. Everything's going your way, and yet you're still after manifesting something extra. So we could be looking at taking relationships to a new stage here. We could be looking at proposals, talking to a partner about starting a family, looking at should we move in together. It's, you know, you're manifesting something extra on top of this good strong relationship you've got here. This is all this positivity. There's something extra you want, and you know, you've got what you need to bring that about. I think you need to make sure that you're expressing that to the person you're dealing with. You know, your person needs to understand where you're coming from here. But I think it's not like you've got a big decision to make, because I feel like in your heart you've already made it. Now it's kind of putting that decision into action. You know, you've made your mind up, and now you've got to ask that question. You've got to create that situation. You've got to pull all the material resources together to make that actually happen. So let us know what's going on for you at the moment. Something big, Cancer. Right, and Scorpio, how are things going for you? Scorpio, we have got the Stag, the Page of Vessels, and the Ace of Stones. So yeah, you're kind of following a path where you're kind of making decisions and acting on them and building something quite strong and significant here. It's like you've made the decisions you need to make, a little bit like Cancer had, although I'm not sure, I don't think we're kind of looking at relationships here, whereas I had a real strong feeling about it being a relationship connection with Cancer. This is more a this is something more solid. This is it's kind of like we're talking bricks and mortar rather than emotions. You know, it's something solid that you're building, but there's a lot of work involved and a lot of effort, and a lot of determination. But you're quite focused, and it's like you've made that decision and you're taking on that responsibility to bring that about. And it is involving changes, and heading into more to things that you find enjoyable. I think more. There's a sense that you're moving away from just plodding through your life and existing and doing the things you need to do to survive, to actually starting to do things that you want to do, that you enjoy, that feed your soul as well as your body. You want to create something that actually brings you pleasure. You want that security. You don't want it, so it could be related to a job or something here, because you are being responsible, and you do want that security and strength and development. But there's this real feeling that you want something a bit more than that. You want it to be a pleasant experience. You want to gain something from it more than just being able to survive and get on with life. You want to see something. You want to see some positive results at the end of it. And you're in a position at the moment where you can begin to make these changes. I think you really are starting to see, if not the fruits of your labour yet, you're starting to see where you're laying the foundations. You're starting to put that process into action and make things happen, to take you where you want to be going. I think it's quite an exciting time for you, Scorpio. There's some changes here, but they're quite subtle changes that you're kind of it's quite a gentle flow, because you're in control. You've taken charge and you are managing what happens now. But at the same time, you're still allowing those ideas, that inspiration, those dreams to flow through, and you're creating something that I think will actually bring you quite a bit of enjoyment. But you've got a way to go yet. You're not at the end of this, but you're starting out on that process in a very determined and methodical way, and I think you're probably going to get there. So now we're going to have a look at Pisces. What have we got for you this week, Pisces? Right, Pisces, we have got the Ace of Bows, the Queen of Arrows, and the Three of Stones. Now, yeah, I'm kind of seeing you in a similar position to how we've just discussed with Scorpio, in that you've got these ideas and you're trying to manifest something quite creative and productive for the future. I think you're going about it in a very different way, though. You've got this this bright idea, this spark, this light bulb moment that, you know, you suddenly, it's like everything becomes clear and things are starting to make sense for you at the moment. And you kind of know where you're heading. But I think you're going about it in a way that potentially could be quite painful. There's a lot of separation and moving away and leaving things behind and severing connections here. So it's more abrupt than the changes we were seeing with Scorpio. It's still a positive thing, but you're going about it in quite a brutal way. I think you're cutting ties. You're letting go of things that hold you back. You're making decisions for you and you alone. You've got your focus on what you need to achieve, and you're not that bothered who you cut out of your life in order to achieve it. It could be situations. It could be a situation you're leaving behind. But you've kind of made that decision and you're starting to act on it. You're moving away. You're leaving things behind and creating something quite solid that works for you. Something you're kind of manifesting this creative energy. You're drawing on that inner strength that you have to make something that is positive and solid that you can rely on. And I'm getting the sense that it's a need to be able to rely on you, on what you do, where you go, what things you achieve. You don't want to be beholden to anyone else. You don't want anyone to be beholden to you either. It's like, this is your time, this is your focus, this is where you need to be headed. And it's like there's time for relationships and connections later. That's kind of the mindset you're in now. You've got to do this for you first. Then you can start thinking about other people and whether you want them to be part of this. But at the moment, your focus is on building your future, what you want to achieve. So that's it for this week, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it helped. So please like and subscribe, and don't forget I am available for private readings, so all the details for that will be down below. Thank you. Where did it stop?